everybody, this is Timmy once again. It's been quite a while since I've talked about anything. Life's been super busy, and I have been thinking about this channel a lot lately, and why I made it in the first place, because it was meant to be something that helps me to keep because I do have some memory gap problems, and it's been kind of hectic trying to keep my life in a streamlined thing, especially since I've graduated and summer started, so things have been a little bit hectic, and to kind of appease myself, I decided I'm going to talk about another life experience that I might be able to put some insight on and help people with. And what I want to talk about today is agoraphobia and how it's caused, how it can affect your life, how it's affected me personally, and what I've done to kind of help myself overcome my fears and my anxiety, because it is a part of anxiety. If you follow me on Tumblr, you probably know that I have very high generalized anxiety where I just feel chronically very nervous, very uneasy a lot of the time, and that is what caused my social anxiety, which has made it so much harder to do a lot of activities, and it's why I have just talking about it makes my brain want to do it, and how it's caused my stutter. If you follow me on Tumblr, you've seen probably a lot of posts of how I've kind of been dealing with my anxiety and how I've been trying really hard to overcome it all, despite letting it consume me in the past. And that's it. It ties in heavily with my agoraphobia, because my generalized anxiety is what caused my social anxiety, and my social anxiety in turn is what caused my agoraphobia. Which agoraphobia is, its definition is the Google definition that I looked up said it's an irrational fear of public places. But that's really not all that it is. It is classified as an anxiety disorder, like a separate disorder from anxiety, and from it's another form of illness, like OCD. It's an anxiety. It's obviously has differences from them, but it can be caused by anxiety, and it's more. Sorry, my list fell down. My list of points that I wanted to cover. All right, there we go. It can be caused by anxiety, and it's classified more as a fear that safe places and public places are unsafe, or that there's a lack of control in a social situation. That's what agoraphobia is. That's what agoraphobia is. It's a fear of lack of control and lack of safety in a situation, rather than just a fear of public spaces, because it is broader than that, and the spectrum of people that are on it can be pretty broad too. I'm kind of somewhere, here's one end. This end are people who don't have agoraphobia. They go out, they live their lives, it's completely fine, they don't see anything that's potentially unsafe in a situation. And on this end, it's people who don't leave their house ever, for months at a time, maybe even years, because they're afraid of the places that they need to go in their daily lives being unsafe. They fear for their safety. They fear that something terrible is going to happen if they leave their house, so they stay there. I am somewhere in the middle, leaning towards being able to go out, because I've been trying to work through my fears. I've been working through my fears, and I'm somewhere in the middle of those two, where I still do have very long periods, weeks on end, where I won't leave my house because my anxiety is so bad. I'll turn down any opportunities to go out. I will not go to the grocery store with my parent, that because I am still living at home. I won't go to the grocery store with her. I won't go out just to get the mail. Some days that even getting out to get the mail can be quite a challenge for me during these periods. I generally won't have my notifications on. I'll answer my mom's calls, but that's it. I generally won't have any social interaction. I won't go out with my friends. I just don't leave for weeks on end, and it is a problem, because I realized it is a problem because I'm been thinking a lot about my future, because I just graduated high school and I've enrolled in college. I've been accepted and my dorm application went through. I am going to be moving in August, and I'm just thinking ahead. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna function by myself, how I'm going to like make myself go to class and make myself go out and function as much as I can, so that I can have a college life, so I can like have a life and get my education without potentially jeopardizing it because I'm too scared to leave my dorm room, which, you know, it's a really big deal. Like, if I can't leave my house to go get the mail that's maybe 10-20 feet from my doorstep, then how am I going to walk around campus and talk to people, talk to my professors, do assignments that I have, do activities and social events that need to be done in order for me to graduate? My experience with it has been lately not great. I'm not currently at home, so that's one thing. I did leave my house, but I'm dog sitting right now. Some of you know that I do work as a dog sitter, because I haven't been able to find a job yet, and that is as a result of both my anxiety and some of my agoraphobia, because it can affect just the regular things like job interviews. Like, I don't tell them that I'm agoraphobic. I don't tell them I have anxiety. I don't tell them about my disorders, because that's unprofessional. It's not needed information. But in my demeanor, it does show that I am a very, very anxious person. It does show that I don't function very well under pressure, because I stutter all throughout my interviews. My thought process gets really, really shaky. I start dissociating a lot more, and my heart starts thumping, and it's just my whole body is just screaming, I shouldn't be here. This isn't okay. This isn't safe. You need to go home. And that's a problem, because I can't get a job that way. I need to be able to leave. So I leave for my job. I need to be able to be dependable and to be able to leave on time, to get there on time, to do my job and get paid for it like I want to. And that's just not a possibility right now because of the agoraphobia. In my social standing too, it's been, I don't know, it's kind of been touch and go, because I will have these periods where, yeah, I won't leave the house, but I've been doing pretty well with when people invite me out. Like, I went to the Pride Festival here in Salt Lake City a couple of weeks ago with my friends. That was only a week after I left school, though, so it wasn't too bad by then. My friends stayed the whole weekend. We went to the festival on Saturday. I think he came over Friday. He stayed over. We went to the festival on Saturday. And then the day after, I think we went out. We went out for dinner, and we went to the place that I got my tattoo done, because I really wanted to get my septum done, and he wanted to experience that with me. So we went out and did that, but the producer wasn't there, so we went back to my place. We just had an in-day. It was fun. And then the next day we went to a different piercing shop, and I got my septum done. That was no biggie. Like, that whole weekend, I went out, I functioned relatively well. I wasn't really all that uncomfortable, but like I said, it was only a week after school let out, so I was still not fully absorbed in I still wasn't used to being home, and I was a little bit stir crazy, because no one had really talked to me much that week, and it was kind of just a blah thing, like, yeah, we graduated, so now what? Was basically the thought process. And then the week after that, I didn't have any activity whatsoever. I didn't go out anywhere. We kind of neglected our shopping a little bit. My mom brought fast food home a lot, and I started noticing that my anxiety was getting worse because I do the same where I check and make sure that there's no one outside before I go out and get my mail, because my neighbors, are very conservative, and I'm a little bit wary about being around them a little bit. But what kind of struck me was, just a week after doing all that activity, I was looking outside, and the minute that I saw someone, I couldn't make myself open the door. Was the thing that bugged me. I felt this, like, my knee-jerk reaction was, I can't go outside, they're gonna come up to me and hurt me. That was my knee-jerk reaction, and that is why that I realized it's been going to be a problem. And it has been. It really has been. Next couple weeks, I didn't do much. I stayed home. I didn't go out. I didn't talk to my friends. A lot of my friends were, not a lot of my friends, but the one person I do hang out with the most was on her senior trip, so I didn't really have a reason to go out much. All my other friends were busy, so I was home, and I was alone with my thoughts. And if you follow me on Tumblr, you know that I think constantly. My brain doesn't really stop working, and it can be a problem if I think too much, because then it makes my anxiety worse, because I can think of all these scenarios in which things can go horribly, inexplicably wrong, if that makes sense. It's almost like I'm setting myself up for failure and setting myself up to have a panic attack, even though there's nothing that has gone and caused it yet. And I've acknowledged this, and I know it's something I'll need to work through, especially since I did start counseling again, which is probably one of the best moves I could have made, because it has somewhat helped my understanding of people. Like, if you can find a good counselor to help you through your anxiety, then you're golden. Like, finding an actually helpful counselor is like one of the biggest steps that you can take. And I can't tell you how many counseling sessions I've gone through and things just haven't worked, either because the ones that I did like eventually stopped taking my insurance, or I went to primary children's for a long time, but I would get interns, like I would get psychology interns, and they would be leaving like every 6 months or so. So why should I go to long-term counseling anymore if my therapist is going to change every 6 months, and I'm going to have to start all over again, and I'm going to clam up again. I'm not going to be able to trust them. Anyway, that's all the subconscious things, and that's why I stopped going to counseling, because I was changing doctors so often that as soon as I got comfortable with one, I would completely shut down again and not be able to talk to the next one. So I stopped doing that until that was about 6 months before school ended, I think. And then about a month before school ended, I started going, a month or two, I don't really remember. I started going back in again. And I love my therapist. She's really nice. She gets me, is the thing. She gets the metaphysical is that the right word? Metaphysical? Whatever. Like the, not psychic, but the empath aspects that I take with my anxiety, and the paganism and energy healing like the energy cleanses and the stone and energy manipulation that I do, she understands that. She actually does that herself, and she, oh my gosh, she gets me, and that is the thing. You need to find a counselor that actually understands what you're going through, that is willing to work with you, actually work with you, and say, okay, this has never worked for me. What can I do instead of that? And if that fails too, they need to be able to keep, trying to help you work out what you can do in order to help yourself heal, because that's your biggest step, is taking the right approach into your healing process. A lot of people have asked me, because I know I've talked about it in my handling anxiety for conventions video, like how I handle like this agoraphobia with going to conventions, and I'm not gonna lie, it is a huge struggle. Like some of you that have met me at cons and have seen on Tumblr and have seen what a nervous wreck and a mess that I can be during conventions, and I don't know, it can be very taxing, like just getting ready to go. Like I'll have my tickets months in advance. I'll be like, okay, we've spent money in this, we've invested, we've made costumes, we're going to do this, and it's going to be fun. You're going to be fine. There's security. There are a ton of places that you can go to receive help if you do have a panic attack. There's a lot of places you can go for privacy and calm yourself down, center yourself, and just the whole process that I have to take to be able to go to a con can be a little bit stressful, because I'll go through like weeks where I'll be totally pumped. It's gonna be great. I'll be like, it's totally great. I'm going to have a good time, and then all of a sudden it will be a crash, and I'll be like, I can't do this. I can't do this. It's not safe. I don't feel good enough to go out and go to a con. I don't think I can handle it, but I do go anyway, and I have friends that help me through this time, and I have my mom who goes to cons with me. So that definitely does help, having people with you that can reassure you that everything's going to be fine and that you're comfortable with and you can receive help from, like, should you need it. That's another like huge step that really helps with agoraphobia, is just having a good support system of people who do understand that it's not that you're not trying, and it's not that you don't trust them, and that's not why you won't go out. It's just you don't trust other people. You don't trust the world around you enough to know that nothing's gonna hurt you. A lot of things I've done to try and make it better haven't worked. I'll be honest, like there was one counselor that said, just go to a movie by yourself. Like, people aren't that bad, and eventually you're going to realize that if you keep going out by myself. And I did. And it was terrible. I was anxious. I cried a lot during that process, because I'm like, hey, I don't think this is working. I'm still really scared. I'm still not able to function very well. It's making me more nervous at school. I'm not doing so well with this exercise. Can we please try something else? And it was really stressful, because he kept pressing. He's like, no, you need to do this. You need to go out on your own. Don't receive any help. Don't take your phone with you. Just go, and you need. Sorry, I gotta go. And we're back. Okay. Sorry, they were a little ticked off that I put them in the house for too long. Counselor, right? He was very aggressive toward the fact that I needed to do things by myself and not have any communication with people that I was comfortable with, that I needed to see for myself that people weren't bad. The thing is, people are awful. I'm not gonna lie, I do think that people can be the most difficult, terrifying, and just awful things in this earth. I'm not kidding. Like, seeing people who, like, being female bodied and being someone that is perceived as female, especially, I was not down with that. Like, you're insisting that I go out without my phone, which is my connection to everything. That is what I'm going to use if I run into trouble, or God forbid I'm in danger. And you're insisting that I leave that home when I have this fear that something is going to go wrong and something's going to hurt me. Like, that just didn't make any sense in my mind. Like, why would I put myself in a situation that makes me feel more unsafe than I had felt before? Like, that didn't, I don't know what he was thinking, like, doing that with me. And of course, like, my mom completely trusting him would be like, you need to do this, is what he said to do. And I was completely shaking my head. Like, it's not her fault, because she wasn't in the sessions with me. She wasn't with me when I went out and did this. She didn't see me break down. She just heard what I told her. And she's like, well, this is all part of recovery. And I'm like, no, this is not what recovery is supposed to be. You're supposed to take small steps. You need to take small steps and make sure that you feel safe, you feel comfortable, and that it's helping you in the long run. And that was not helping me. Going out by myself and going out to a busy area where I was being ogled, eyed at, and actually I have had my ass grabbed several times doing this. And I'm like, this isn't doing anything for me. This is not helping me at all. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel safe, how I'm supposed to get over this fear if I'm putting myself in a situation that makes me feel more unsafe, and that actually has been unsafe in the past. Like, that, it made no sense to me. I stopped going to him. I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. You're not helping me. I can't use your services anymore. So I stopped doing that. And then the next person that I went to, she said the same thing, but then she kind of heard me out, and she actually listened. She's like, okay, I see where you're coming from. Why don't we try just going out with, go out with your phone, but go to a crowded place. And I'm like, okay, I don't like crowded places. I don't. And still, she's still making me go out by myself in ways that I still didn't feel safe. And I'm like, but that's the whole reason I stopped counseling for so long, was because all these doctors were pressuring me to do things that made me feel unsafe, and it wasn't really helping me in the long run. And so when I started going back, I was like, it's gonna happen again. She's not gonna understand, and I'm gonna have wasted all my insurance things on this, and I'm gonna have wasted all this time, because her sessions are a lot longer than any that I've been to before. Like, sessions I've had with past doctors have been like 40 minutes at most. She has her first session for 2 hours minimum. That's her minimum that she has her clients come in for. And it was strange to me before, but she's also a friend of my mom's from high school, so I'm like, okay, so she can't be that odd. I was wrong about that. She's outlandish, but it's in a very good way, and she totally gets where I was coming from. She's like, they were making you do all these things, like, how did they expect you to function and be able to help yourself by doing that? And I'm like, right? And oh my God, she got me. And that was like the best thing, because she's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. The next time you go out, you're going to make me a list. You're going to write down this list of everything that you possibly think can go wrong, and then we're going to go over it with you. And I'm like, great. Sounds great. And then we were talking more, and she said, bring someone that you're really, really comfortable with you. You need to take the steps and take people that you're very comfortable with you, and take turns. Have them speak for you if you're getting too flustered, but really try to speak to other people while you're out and about. Like, if you're in a register to buy something, talk to the cashier. Don't have someone else just handle the situation for you. And I was like, okay, I think I can manage that. And I did. Pride weekend, we went shopping. And I talked to people at Pride. I talked to people while we were shopping, and it did help. Like, my friends helped me when they could see that I was starting to get a little bit worked up and starting to get anxious, and they would pull me a little bit back. They would handle it, and they would look to me for responses, and that was the best thing that they could have done, was that they handled the situation right beside me. They still included me in on it, so I could work through it, but I was still able to handle most of the situations I was in by myself, and I was very, very happy about that. So that's pretty much what I've been doing so far, is I've been going out with people. Like, obviously I haven't, like, in the past, like, I've had I've had another period where I haven't really left. Mostly it's because of dog sitting. Like, I have to be here. I can only leave for about 6 hours at a time before I have to let them out. They usually go out every, 2 hours for 20 minutes, and then they'll come back in. And I have to be here. So that's but it has kind of put me into I don't know if relapse is the right word, but it's almost like putting me back in a relapse, where it's like I'm kind of hesitant to be going out in social situations again. Like, yesterday was my great grandfather's birthday. He was turning 98, I think. And I've never been comfortable with it's my mom's side of the family, and I've never been comfortable with my mom's side anyway. My mom has always been very alternative, and she was the Gen X original 80s goth, hung out with all of these kids that started getting all these piercings, had spiked up hair, and listened to, The Cure and Depeche Mode, and I don't think Marilyn Manson was so much an 80s thing as he was a 90s thing, was he? I don't remember. But she was a total black sheep. She wasn't, my grandma made her go to church, and my mom wasn't Mormon at all. She had her own beliefs, but she didn't really want to go and participate in the LDS church at all. So my family members have always kind of viewed my mom as something to be cautious with, and they've even been don't talk to Aunt Sherry too much to their kids. Like, literally, that's been them, and I'm like, okay, alright. So imagine a black sheep in her family never really got on with her mom too much. Her family members were always kind of snooty. That's the word that I'm looking for. My family members on that side are very snooty and nosy and in each other's business. And then I come along. I'm the gay cousin. Like, my mom keeps telling me that that's not a thing, but there's only one person I know of that is one other person in that side of the family that is LGBT. There might be more, but you know what? I wouldn't know, because every time I'm around them, they literally look at me like I have a second head. Like, they look at me and they see this tiny little, lesbian, non-binary, that doesn't conform to gender roles, that doesn't shave her legs, that has all these piercings and has her first tattoo, and they just look at me like I'm some sort of, I don't know, they're very cold, and they're very reserved, and very, very religious, so it's always been very, very uncomfortable for me to be around them. But we were at a barbecue yesterday, and literally I just spent the whole time being miserable because I didn't feel okay. My anxiety was going through the roof, and eventually, I was helping one of my family members with, I don't even remember, I kind of blacked out. I'm not gonna lie, I did a little bit. I was helping one of my family members with something, and then all of a sudden I had a panic attack because I didn't feel okay in that environment. So yeah, I'm kind of back in that place where I'm like, I don't want to leave right now. I went and got the mail earlier. I wasn't great. Like, I was my heart was pretty much racing the whole time, and it doesn't help that their mailbox is all the way down the street, so I had to go unlock the box and then walk back. And I don't really know, like, I grew up in this neighborhood. I lived in this neighborhood for 17 years, pretty much all my life before we moved to Kearns. So I know a lot of the neighbors, but it's just that thought that I'm outside. I'm not as familiar with the neighborhood anymore. I don't know a lot of the neighbors anymore because a lot of them have just moved in. And it was very disappointing for me to look at myself and like see myself and see how scared I was just going down the street to get the mail, like literally. It was really stressful, and I didn't like it at all, not one bit. So I'll probably be working more on, like, the list technique. I do like, because she, like, listing the things that I was afraid of that would happen. I feel like that's going to be the approach that's going to work the most. Because the last time that we did it, I'm trying to remember what I had on that list, and she just went with everything, and she's like, "Why are you scared of that?" And I'm like, and I explained to her, because, I don't want that to happen to me. She's like, "But why would it happen to you today? Why would someone come up to you unprovoked and just do that?" And I'm like, I didn't have an answer for it, and that kind of did click in my mind, like the notion that I was kind of overly cautious about everything. But I don't know, with everything that's, especially like with things that happened with Orlando, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I was really, like, freaked out. Like, I'm sad. I'm really sad for the families that went through that and everything. But most of all, I am terrified, because, like, I don't know if, like, some of you that are on Tumblr have seen my tattoo. And that's it. As you can see, it's the equality sign and some bleeding hearts. And why I got that tattoo was to prove that I was going to be who I was, that I deserved to exist, and that no one could ever take that away from me. And that's still the meaning behind it, and I still stand by it, and I'm not going to hide who I am, but I am really scared. Utah's really conservative, and even just holding hands with my friends makes my anxiety go absolutely insane. Like, I don't know, it's just really scary, and now I have kind of a symbol that puts a target on my back, and I've always been very paranoid that someone's gonna do something to me, so it certainly hasn't helped the situation, but I'm going to continue to try and move past my fears and try to get myself into a place where I can function again, because I really want to do well in the next couple of months, especially after I move. I really need a job. I'm really worried about my tuition and how I'm going to live and how I'm going to pay for food, I'm worried about how I'm going to live when I'm not here, because Ogden is over an hour away from where I live, and I'm gonna be pretty much cut off from everything I've ever been comfortable with. Like, I don't know anybody in Ogden. My mom's gonna be still here in the valley, and then all my friends are going to different colleges, so it's really scary to think of the fact that you're going to be by yourself for the first time, that you're not going to be somewhere where you can immediately go for help. Like, my aunt isn't going to live behind me anymore. I can't just jump the fence and go over there and have someone that's going to, like, help me out. I'm not going to have that anymore. And with my social anxiety, I don't know that I'm going to make friends very easily. I don't know that I'm going to find people who get, like, this whole situation that I'm in, and especially with how bad my mental state has been in. I don't know that I'm gonna have people that understand. I don't know, it's gonna be really hard, and I'm trying to work past it, is my point. And there is hope that I'm gonna get better, and there's hope for everyone else that's in a similar situation that they can get better, because if you can find like some support, like a really good support, and find methods that work the best for you to try and get yourself to go out and feel safe and comfortable in your own skin, and not like something's gonna jump at you every time you walk out the door, that's the end goal. If you can do that, then that is wonderful. It's amazing, and it's utterly possible, and that's what kind of gets me. It's possible, and it's going to be hard, but I'm not going to give up yet. I'm still going to be looking for a job. I'm still going to try my best to do better with being social and being able to function as I should in situations, but that's just the thought that I need, that it's possible. And I think I can do it. If I can do it, you guys, you can definitely do it, trust me. I think that's all I'm going to do for today. This has been a fun ramble, I guess. I kind of like the whole just talking to myself thing, though some people would think I'm crazy for putting it on the internet. But you know what? If someone wants to listen to me ramble on and on and on, and then this is how I get in contact with some people that are trying to help me and how they know that things are going through my head, then that's fine with me. Anyway, next time I have things to talk about, I'll probably put them on the blog that I post all these to before I do. And I'm going to try and actually, like, gather my thoughts more before I start talking, because I know I can get off on some pretty big tangents, and these videos are going to end up being insanely long because of those tangents, and editing software is really not my friend. So I'll just let you go. But it was nice just having this talk, I guess. I think I might start trying to do like little tiny craft tutorials and maybe put some on a different channel, because it's things that I've been asked for too. But I will see you in my next vlog thing. Yeah.